Hello and welcome to Parenting in the First 3 Years. I am so excited to introduce my guest today, Maria Dior. Maria and I feel like she's one of my dearest friends, but I've never met her face to face. She
That's
lives
true.
in Denmark. I live in Texas, and we are very far apart, but I sure do love you, Maria. And thank you so much for being in this show.
I'm so excited to be here, and I see you as a dear friend too. So that's exciting.
Yeah. So why don't you tell people what you do and
Yes.
and the exciting news about your podcast?
Yeah. So I'm a mom of three, but I'm also a health professional within both fitness and nutrition and taking care of mom's body and recovering from pregnancy and birth, both on a mental and physical level. And I've been working as a personal trainer and entrepreneur and also a nutritional specialist for about 8 years at this time. And I also have a podcast that's called Morsomhed, which is a Danish word for mom's space. And I just reached 1 million downloads. So that's really exciting. And I
It's
love doing
very
podcasts.
exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that's where I've been in my life and where I am. And I'm really passionate about health in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
So
How old
yeah.
are your kids now?
9, 7, and 5.
Ah, they're getting bigger.
Yes, they
S-
do.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, what we're talking about today is just kind of simple and realistic ways for moms who are pregnant, just had a baby, and in these first few years of being a parent, how they can stay healthy. And so, what would you what would you say to folks? I mean, what are some ways that that moms can do this? How can they do this?
Yeah, so I think health is a lot of things, and I think it's important to also be clear to yourself what health is for you, because I don't think there's like one way or another to be healthy. For me, it's all about the feeling of being healthy, and that is really different. So I think it's important to just, as a baseline, to tell people that there's no recipe on what's healthy and not healthy. It's really about a feeling in the body and a feeling in our mindset of doing something that benefits how you show up as a mom, and how you show up as yourself and at your best self. And a way for me to do that is to set aside time every day to move my body, to prioritize how I eat and how I sleep, and actually also to prioritize what pressure I put on myself in terms of trying not to overwhelm myself, trying not to pressure myself into expecting that I could do 10, 20, 30 things a day that might not be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some easy way, and some things that I tell my client oftentimes, is that when you're gonna start prioritizing yourself again, either during pregnancy or after birth, when you had like this huge life thing happening to you, when everything changes and everything gets set in a different setting, I think it's important to you just tell yourself that this is a period in my life where I've spent a lot of time prioritizing other needs before my own. But it's also important that you are able to prioritize other people's needs, especially your kids and your children's needs before yourself. And a way to do that is to take care of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I see is that a lot of moms think about health as something that they can prioritize when they have the time for it. Whereas I like to tell people that you need to take the time to prioritize it, and you need to uh, to do things for yourself that will help you be able to be there as the mom you want to show up as every single day. And some concrete ways to do that is to do small actions that doesn't require a lot of time and effort, because you might not have the time or the effort or the energy to put the pressure on yourself to say, I need to run 3 times a week, or I need to stop snacking in between meals, or I need to cut down on sugar, because that's healthy steps in towards a direction where you're actually fueling your body with more energy and more nutritious food that will help your cells develop and do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it also can be unhealthy to put that stress on yourself if you're not ready or not able to set aside that much time or effort. So small steps in a direction where you can say, I'm going to choose to eat a healthy breakfast. I'm going to do a smoothie, or I'm going to do a healthy breakfast muffin with vegetables in or something. Or I'm going to start the day by putting up my athleisure outfit or my fitness clothing,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can be able to move in the morning if I feel like I have the time, or maybe I can go to the store rather than to drive if you have that possibility, so that you're setting yourself up to be able to take that action
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like you have the energy, but also just to start the morning with the intention of, let's start out healthy. Maybe during the day I'll get tired or things will happen, but I will start my day prioritizing my health. I think that is the best way to do it, and just take small steps. It could be just doing 5 squats,
Mm-hmm.
because in your mindset, you've actually done something good for yourself the first thing in the morning. And that is, yeah, a great way to transition into having the rest of the day be healthy
Yeah.
as well.
Those are things I even do now.
Yes.
If I know that I'm gonna, go to my workout class later on today, and I don't have to go anywhere else, and I can be dressed like that, I'll go ahead and dress for my class, which what might, help me when in the afternoon slump, when I say I don't really feel like going, I'm too tired, all that stuff. If I'm already dressed, that's half the battle, maybe.
Yes.
But I can remember, as as a mom of 3 kids who are less than 2 years apart, and just those years of really heavy parenting, I can remember sometimes at the end of the day sitting down on the couch and thinking, this is the first time I've sat down all day long.
Yes.
There's just no time to
Yes.
formally exercise oftentimes.
Yes.
So how can people do this? Like, I mean, you said do some squats. I mean, what are some other really simple ways to just get a little movement in the midst of it?
Yeah. So I enjoy walks, because it's the easiest way for me to actually move without feeling the struggle of not being able to breathe, or
Mm-hmm.
pushing myself too hard, where I know that the feeling of discomfort will come in really fast. And so
Mm-hmm.
what people in general, not only moms, but people try to avoid, is the feeling of discomfort. And to be honest, being healthy doesn't feel comfortable when you're doing it. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel comfortable eating green salads rather than having a donut, because that's
Right.
more, it just gives you something else. It gives you the sugar, it makes your brain happy. You want to be happy. Everyone has one desire in life, is to be happy and
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy life. And so a lot of the healthy stuff is not enjoyable. And so your brain will automatically go to a place where you just won't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
because you know that it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful, you're going to sweat, you need to take a shower. There's just too much effort going into that task.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so for me, the way when I had a baby, the way that I started my health journey was to actually just start walking, either with my baby in the stroller, going for a walk for like 10 minutes by myself, just to get some fresh air, to just reset my day, to not be yelled mom at all the time. It really also helped me get some mind space into my day. But in general, what I like to say to moms, especially moms who has a small baby, is that you could actually get down on the floor with your baby and follow their own movement process. Because when you're going to recover from your birth, the way you want to do it is to start doing exercises where you lay flat on your back, because that alleviates the least strain to your body. It doesn't require your body to perform movements that are traumatizing in terms of the weight and the effort and the pullback that your body will experience. And so when I train moms into getting back into shape, what I tell them is to start doing exercising laying flat on your back, doing pelvic tilts, tugging in your stomach, making sure you have that core stabilization. And that's the way the babies does too, because the baby cannot do anything else than lay flat on their back when they get to this world. And then all of a sudden they can roll over and stay up their stomach. And then you can do the same. You roll over, you train, raise yourself up, train your back, do movements where you're stretching your arms out, see if you can have the balance there. And then all of a sudden your baby can go up on all fours, and then you can start going up on all fours and doing exercising on all fours. And at the same time, you can actually spend quality time with your baby. And so what I used to say to moms, and usually say to moms, is that actually just when you have your baby and your baby is all fresh and newborn, they can lay on their backs and go down on the floor and lay there with them and do some pelvic tilts and just some small movements, and then follow your baby's development. And then that way you can actually get some movement throughout the day where you don't feel like you need to get a sweat on. It doesn't need to get uncomfortable, but you're still exploring just simple movements with your baby. And it's also a great way to spend some time with them.
Yeah, I love that, because you're actually giving your body the time to recover.
Exactly.
If you wait until they're rolling before you start rolling over and getting on your belly and doing those Supermans and all those things,
Yeah.
then you have waited probably the appropriate amount of time to do that kind of exercise. That's a
Exactly.
really great way to look at it. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're right there with your baby too. That's exactly what both of you need. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're helping your baby see what movement can be as well. So you're mirroring the movements that they need to learn. So it's really a great way to both challenge your baby motorical skills, but also to challenge your own body motorical skills, because it needs to recover from a birth. It's a traumatization for the body to experience a pregnancy and a birth. And you want to give it time, but you also want to get back to it as soon as possible, especially with the Kegel exercises and the pelvic tilts and the restoration of your abdomen muscles. And the best way to start without putting too much strain on your body is actually to be flat on your back.
Yeah, that's great. And then as they get up and upright and start walking, and then by the time they start running, maybe your body is ready to move a little faster when you go
Exactly.
for that walk. Yeah, that's really
Yes.
neat. Huh. So when you were, a new mom, and it hasn't been very long ago, how did you notice, and what do you notice with your clients is in their moods, in their mental health, when they begin to implement some of these things?
Well, I think everyone that knows the feeling after a great workout, the mood really shifts because you feel like you can conquer the world. You have you use a lot of energy, but you also get twice as much back, because you get your endorphins pumping, you get yourself renewed, and the body just start working, restoring the body and the muscles and the tissue that you've broken down throughout the movement. And so I think in terms of general health, when you also implement nutritionist choices that are maybe healthier than the fast choices that you pull off because you're too tired to do otherwise, I think the sense of feeling the self-care and self-love in and of itself gives you a sense of energy, because you know that you're able to take care of yourself whilst also taking care of someone else. And just the fact that when you move around, endorphins are floating in the body, and that brings happiness, and it brings motivation, and it brings a sense of whatever, like it doesn't matter. And when you're in that struggle state, which I think every mom has been in once in a while, where you have a baby that's crying, or the breastfeeding isn't working, or something's wrong and you're just sleep deprived and tired and overwhelmed. I think what's really great is to be able to utilize the fact that if you just spend 10 minutes moving your body and getting some fresh air, and even just talking to yourself in a sense of, you know what, I've got this. This is okay. It's okay to be tired. I'm going to do this anyway. It's okay that I feel overwhelmed. The best for me right now is to go for a walk and clear my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really shifts how you view parenthood and
Mm-hmm.
parenting and being a mom into, I'm also being me. Like, I'm the title mom is not everything to me. I'm also Maria or Anne or whoever you are. And I see a shift of the ability to take on struggles and crisis when you have taken the time to prioritize yourself, even if it's only 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think it plays a huge role in your mood and the way you show up, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It really is kind of a time consuming thing to figure out that balance, because you are so utterly consumed with your child and being a parent, and that becomes your full identity, and you're just making this big gigantic shift. But at the same time, you're still yourself, and you're
Yes.
still 100% Maria, and
Mm-hmm.
you cannot forget about Maria. You have to take care of Maria. And so that is, I think, such an important thing for all of us to remember. I've got some group coaching going on, and this is the whole point of it. You are 100% mother and you are 100% woman. Let's
Yes.
look at both of these people and figure out how to find peace in both roles,
Yeah.
and growth and contentment and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is really great. So you suggest going for walks, which is something you can start probably in the first month or so after
Mm-hmm.
having a baby, and kind of synchronizing your movements and growing your movements as your baby develops and grows bigger.
Yeah.
That's another really great piece of advice. What's one more piece of advice or encouragement that you could leave with those who are listening?
Well, I think starting out simple is the key, because what we want to do is that we want to start out, but we also want to continue. And so I think a lot of moms fall into that, you know, all or nothing thinking, like either or.
Mhm.
Either I'm going to be healthier or I'm not going to be, or either I'm
Right.
going to run or I'm not going to run, or
Yeah.
either I'm going to go out and do a CrossFit workout or I'm not going to do it. And
Mhm.
so I think the essence of all of it is to find a balance and to find something that makes you feel good. Because
Mhm.
for me right now, I'm long gone for the postpartum recovery part. So I can go out in my CrossFit gym and I can push my limits and I feel great when I've done that.
Mhm.
But I also have a time consuming job, and I also have 3 grown kids almost that I need to, take to soccer games and school meetings and PTA meetings and, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And so if I was to say I haven't worked out properly, if I didn't spend an hour at the gym, I would probably not work out at all, because that's not the case all the time.
Mhm.
I don't wake up every day and happen to find an extra hour. I need to take that time. And if I have this goal in my head that it's gonna be 1 hour, or if it isn't, it's not gonna count. Because I've had those thoughts as well. If I don't run 5K, it's not count as running, which is
Mhm.
just bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. And so what I want to emphasize is that the balance is really the key here. So it doesn't matter if it's running, if it's doing strength exercises, if it's running or biking on the Peloton or whatever. The important part is that you find something that you actually enjoy.
Mhm.
And you might not enjoy it to begin with, but when you come home, or when you stop that workout or stop that exercise, you feel good. And that's the feeling you want to continue feeling when you're done, because that will motivate you to get started the day after, and then the day after.
Right.
And making small goals is gonna build on that feeling of satisfaction. So if your goal is to, today I'm just gonna put up my fitness clothing, that's a great goal, because that is probably better than what you're already doing. And
Right. Yeah.
then the next day you can say, I'm going to put that clothes on, and then I'm going to walk for 2 minutes. Because when you can check that box off, then you feel good, because you were able to keep to your own promises. You were able
Right.
to do what you said you
Right.
wanted to do. And then you train that thought and you train that habit. And all of a sudden, it doesn't require you to win over your own excuses. You don't need to get into an argument with yourself on whether or not you're gonna actually get it done, or if you're gonna let the couch win. And so I think it doesn't really matter what activities you're going to do. It's obviously important that you follow some guidelines and instructions in terms of the recovery process of the postpartum body. But when you feel like you have your pelvic floor contained, and you are doing some deep core exercises to regain that control of your stability, then it's really up to you on what you feel is beneficial for your body and your mood and your health. And then be flexible about the way that you get there, but be really consistent on getting there. So
Yeah.
keep the consistency as of, I have this goal and I'm going to reach it, but the ways to reach it, be flexible, because you are a mom, and sometimes you're going to have a bad day, and your baby is going to have a bad day, and everything will fall into like a mud, and you're just going to want to lay down and cry. But if you just say, well, this today, it wasn't the long run, it's just a short one.
Yeah.
That's
It won't
okay, because
always
my
be
goal,
this way. Yeah.
exactly. And if the goal was to run, then you did run. Even if it wasn't the 5K you had planned on, maybe it was just 500 meters. That's better than nothing. So I think that is actually, it's not a concrete thing to do, but it's really important to have that mindset, because you want to be your best cheerleader. You want to, you want to pep yourself up, and you want to support yourself, and be flexible about how you're going to do it. Just make sure that you set aside time to actually be able to do something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll add that, that over the years in my journey as a woman, when my kids were babies and toddlers and growing up through the years, I've had ebbs and flows of health, really. And
Yes.
but it seems as if, like with every life stage, there are opportunities to do things a little different, and the desire to do things different, and just to really follow what you said. Follow your heart. Do what's fun. Do what you'll want to do. Whether that's yoga by Adrienne on YouTube, or going for a walk, or doing something bigger. It's really important just to move. And I will say that as an advocate for everybody listening, just keep moving, because when you get to be my age, it really does matter that you have moved all these years. And so, well, thank you so much. That is really, really insightful and helpful, and a sweet word of encouragement just to do what's right for you. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you too. It was great.
Okay, I'm going to put all the links for Maria's website and the work that she's done, and all of her social places where you can go and see. She's got absolutely beautiful things for you to learn and see online. So thank you, Maria.
Thank you too.